The last things I want to talk to you about before summing up and talking about the cons and the pro is the browser. Let me get inside this Italian newspaper site, which is Repubblica. It's a pretty heavy site. The browser, of course, is the same that we can find inside the Note 3 and the Galaxy S4, which means that sadly is a Chrome-based browser. I mean sadly because I really love the stock browser, both for the possibility to go in full screen mode and to use the quick navigation bar, and of course to use Flash. Here, as you can see, the browser is even not perfectly smooth, which is quite common using Chrome-based browser. Maybe just the reason Chrome Beta is a little bit faster, but here, as you can see, this one is not faster at all. Consider that we're not even using the Flash plugin. Look at this, the pinch to zoom, not perfect too. Really a pity. We can get a little bit better if we use the Lightning, which is some kind of reminiscence of the stock browser. We even have Flash enabled. We have full screen browsing. Look at this, we can even hide the status bar pretty good. But nevertheless, this browser too is not perfectly smooth. Of course, we have a better responsiveness for what concern pinch zooming, but it's not perfectly smooth at all for what concerns scrolling of the page. So, but at least here we even have the text reflow. So after all, it's a little bit better, in my opinion, than the stock browser for what concerns the Galaxy Note 10 Pro 1 2014 edition. So these are more or less all the stuff coming with this Galaxy Note 10 Pro 1 2014 edition. Now we can draw a line and talk about the pro and the cons. Let's start from the pro. The first pro I want to talk to you about is that these devices, to me, very good dimension and weight. We didn't have that huge bezel that we used to have in other Android tablets, so it's pretty good. Even the weight is a 547 grams for this LTE version. It's not the lightest tablet on the market nowadays, but definitely it's not bad. Just one thing that I want you to notice, that the back of this device, although it does remind us of the Galaxy Note 3, I mean this fake leather here, it's a little bit worse than what we can find inside the Galaxy Note 3, because here this one doesn't have any rubber finish, so it's a little bit more slippery than the Galaxy Note 3. Be careful when you use it. Maybe it's better to use a case because it will have better grip. Then the speakers, pretty high volume speakers, very nice one. It's nice to have dual stereo speakers, especially because they are in the right position. Of course, they would have been even better having the speakers on the front side. This is there is no doubt about it, but at least they are here on the upper side and not on the lower one, like for instance on the Xperia Tablet Z, when handling the tablet will let you cover the speakers, and this way is way much better, because we have speakers on the this upper side of the device. Then we have pretty nice stuff like the possibility to use the device to make calls and to send SMS and MMS. It's nice to have this possibility, although maybe some of you won't ever use this feature. We have a great stuff for what concerns multitasking. This is probably the best device actually on the market for what concerns multitasking. No other device can handle multitasking like this. Consider we have such a huge screen, such very high resolution, 3 GB of RAM, all this stuff for what concerns multitasking. Great, really great. The device, although is not that fast in UI and in browsing, for what concerns games is really fly. Let me tell you, this is probably due to the bigger screen, to the very the fact that this device is extremely powerful, It's such a pleasure to play with this device. Really, it's such a pleasure. Maybe the best Android device I've ever played with in games. The browsing gets a little bit better using Lightning, and you can even, of course, use Flash. Perfect is the possibility you have this S Pen, and all the stuff that you can do with the S Pen is very good. Although, as I already told you, the speed while writing is not the same that we can find inside the Galaxy Note 3. Don't get me wrong, it's not slow. I mean, if you know the Galaxy Note 2, for instance, you know that the speed is more or less the same, maybe even a little bit better. But once you try the Galaxy Note 3, you won't ever come back. The Galaxy Note 3 has instant writing. Really, it does remind you to write on a paper sheet. It's perfect, really perfect. So I would expect the same result from the Galaxy Note 10.1, although it's not the same. This device is even the LTE version. It's nice to have an LTE tablet, according in my opinion. Pretty nice is the fact that we even have watch on, so we can even remotely control TV and other devices. And it's very nice the possibility to have a micro SD card slot expansion, although we have something to say about it in a few seconds. So we talked about all the pros of this device. Now we can talk about the cons. The first things that I wanted you to notice that this device is not optimized. Let me tell you, it's not optimized. Do you need something more to believe me? Look at this. Just lock the device. You're doing whatever you want. When you unlock the device, it takes up to 2 seconds for the screen to come up. I mean, it's not an infinite time, it's not a drama, but it's not that I would expect from such a powerful device like this Galaxy Note 10.1. Look at this. Now maybe even more than 2, 3 or 4 seconds. To me, this is unbearable. I mean, device like this must be instantly on. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's not a drama, but consider the power of this device, consider the price of this device. I want it to be blazing fast, which is not, because the problem is not only how long does it take to wake up the device. The problem is that in everyday usage, you will notice that the device sometimes is struggling. It's not perfectly smooth like it is for instance the Galaxy Note 3. And this is something that if you already tried the Galaxy Note 3, does really annoy you the most. Maybe if you never used the Galaxy Note 3, considering that usually Android tablets are not perfectly smooth, it's very difficult to find an Android tablet which is perfectly smooth. Maybe only the recent Nexus 7 2013 edition that I've recently tried was perfectly smooth, but usually Android tablets are not perfectly smooth. So this is nothing uncommon. But if you try the Galaxy Note 3, if you know that they have the same hardware, the same version of the operating system, the same UI, touch width, you would expect both devices to have the same speed, which is not. Sometimes few apps crash on this device while they don't crash on the Galaxy Note 3, or if they crash on the Galaxy Note 3, they crash once in a blue moon. Here they crash more often. Then what else? We have I'll talk to you about the expandable storage, which is normally a plus. Here we have something weird. I mean, maybe for 9 out of 10 you won't have problem with the 16 GB internal storage. I mean, but if you are a heavy gamer, or if you like me want to use this device heavily and you tend to install much stuff, if you just install 4 games, let me tell you, 4 games like FIFA 14, Need for Speed Most Wanted, Asphalt 8 for instance, and Real Racing 3, you already occupied 8 out of 11 available gigabyte that you have for this Galaxy Note 10 Pro 1. So you have more or less a little bit less than 3 gigabyte left. This is not that nice to me. I told you, maybe 9 out of 10 you won't have problem because you don't use games at all, or you just install one of these games, not all together. You don't have other stuff, so this won't be a problem. To me, this is not acceptable. Okay, most of you may say, hey guy, but you can always move the application to the SD card, right? But this one is another little joke. Let me show you. Use the application manager. Let's pretend that we want to move Asphalt 8 to the SD card. Now every Android app is, divided between the application files and the data files. Look at this. We have 1.59 gigabytes of total occupied space from Asphalt 8. Look at the application data, 47.96 megabyte. Look at the SD card data, just the data of the game, 1.54 gigabyte. And this is part of the joke, SD card app. This is not really the SD card, this is the internal storage. This is part of the 11 gigabyte that you have available into the internal storage. If you move to SD card, what you will obtain is just moving this 47.96 megabyte, always, moving to the SD card, real SD card in that way. But you just moving 49 megabyte out of 1.59 gigabyte. Are you joking? What's the point in moving 50 megabyte on 1.5 gigabyte? What did you gain? Nothing. So this is why, even if you have an SD card expansion slot, but you install games like this, you won't have any chance to save yourself some gigabyte moving out from the internal storage to the SD card slot. That's it. Sorry for the long parenthesis about this stuff, but to me this was really a negative point. Maybe for most of you it won't, but for me it is. Then we have some other stuff. Okay. Probably Samsung will fix it, but I want to show you anyway. This is a recognized bug. You can go on XDA developer forum and you will find the thread about it. If you put your hands here for a few seconds, look what happened. Look, start acting crazy. Won't recognize. Look at this. All the input. Look what's happening. Okay, if you take your hands off the screen for 1 or 2 minutes, everything will get back to normal state, but not very nice. Not very nice from a device like this. What does it mean aside from this, nerdy multi-touch test application? If you use, for instance, the S Note application and you start writing a note on a screen that big, of course, your hand will go over the screen. Okay, you can use this stuff, which won't let your hands draw, but your hands will be anyway recognized by the fact that it's on the screen. And when you start, look at this, when you start pinch zooming, everything starts acting crazy because it doesn't recognize your fingers anymore. Okay, if you take the fingers off your screen for a few minutes, everything will get back to normal, but pretty annoying. Look at this, now it's back to normal. It's pretty annoying. Okay, for sure Samsung, I'm pretty sure that Samsung will fix it, but right now this device has this problem. Another thing that is a constant is the fact that we're missing NFC. Of course, this is nothing vital, we can live without it, but it's strange that we are in 2013, this is a top-notch tablet and we don't have NFC. Why Samsung? Didn't you have the space to put that tiny chip into this device? Sorry guys, but you know, that sounds really strange. The battery, not bad. And to be honest, I didn't have that much time to test it, so these may be inaccurate, but I had about 2 days of standby with 5.5 hours of screen on. Not that bad, but even not you know, not fantastic. So to sum up everything, sorry for this very long review, but as I told you, I had to, you know, merge together the multimedia focus, the S Pen focus, and the review. This is a very good device, maybe the best Android tablet actually on the market, and maybe one of the best tablet in every market. It has, you know, great features and, you know, fantastic potentials, but Samsung maybe was in a rush to take this device out into the market, and the device is not optimized. It does need to be optimized. It has some bugs that needs to be fixed. I guess that after fixing the bug and optimizing this device in a month or a little bit more, Samsung will have a very good device. Sadly, right now, this could be the best tablet on the market, but you know, it's missing a little bit of optimization. So for what concerns this very long review of the Galaxy Note 10.1, that's all. Really thank you for watching this video, although it's a little bit long. I probably will split at least into one. So what's more, thanks for watching, and bye from TechnoLost.